Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button on my channel for more exciting content like this. At the country club brunch, champagne flutes clinked as my sister Sarah beamed with joy. Our dad gently pushed a small box containing the keys to the family's cherished beach house across the crisp white tablecloth. This wasn't just any house. It had 3 bedrooms, direct access to the shore, and breathtaking million-dollar ocean views. For 2 generations, it had been the crown jewel of our family's legacy. Congratulations, darling, Mom said, her eyes misty as she dabbed them with a napkin. You've earned this with all your hard work on that MBA. Sarah cradled the keys as if they were precious gems. I can't believe it's mine. The beach house, she exclaimed. Dad interjected. Well, it's still held in the family trust, technically, but you'll have exclusive use of it. It's yours to enjoy. My younger brother, Chris, lifted his coffee mug in a toast to Sarah's shiny new degree and her even shinier new beach house. The table erupted in cheers from aunts, uncles, and cousins, all gathered to celebrate Sarah's graduation and this extravagant gift. I raised my water glass with a polite smile and took a small sip. What about you, Natalie? Aunt Diane asked, her gaze shifting to me. What did you get for your graduation? The chatter at the table hushed. A lovely dinner, Mom said quickly, and we were so proud of her. That was 7 years ago. I'd graduated from a state university with a finance degree. No grand celebration, no beach house, just a meal at Olive Garden and a card with $500 tucked inside. Meanwhile, Sarah's MBA from an elite private school, fully funded by our parents, had now landed her a multi-million-dollar property. It's not the same, Dad said, his tone firm, signaling the matter was closed. Sarah's joining the family business. She'll need a place to host clients and network. The beach house is a tool for her career. Sarah, already swiping through her phone, chimed in, I'm thinking renovations, new kitchen, maybe a bigger deck. Definitely fresh furniture. I want to throw my first client dinner next month. Whatever you need, sweetie, Mom said. We've set aside a budget for updates. The house should reflect your style. I glanced at my phone under the table. 11:47 a.m. 13 minutes until the trust activated. 13 minutes until everything shifted. My phone had been buzzing all morning with updates from my attorney, financial advisor, and the trust administrator. Years of meticulous planning were about to come to fruition in a way my family couldn't fathom. Natalie, you seem distracted, Sarah said, her voice laced with the smug superiority she'd honed over the years. I know it might sting to see me get something this amazing, but I worked really hard for my degree. Not everyone puts in that effort. I'd worked full-time while earning my degree, graduated summa cum laude, and built a successful career in investment management that left me financially secure. Sarah, on the other hand, had coasted through her fully funded education with average grades and now held a junior role at Dad's real estate company. A position she was handed, not one she earned. I'm happy for you, I said sincerely. Let her have her moment with the beach house. In 13 minutes, she'd see just how happy I was. We should plan the moving party, Mom said, flipping open her planner. Next Saturday, maybe? We can all help Sarah settle in and have a beach barbecue. Sarah waved her hand. I've already hired professional movers. I'm not letting family touch my designer furniture, but a barbecue sounds perfect. I want everyone to see the house once it's set up my way. Chris nudged me. You'll come to the moving party, right? Wouldn't miss it, I replied. Dad's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, frowned, and excused himself, stepping out to the terrace. I watched through the towering windows as he paced, his face growing more puzzled. Mom noticed too. What's that about? He looks worried. My phone buzzed, a text from my attorney. Trust activation complete. All properties now under your control. Your grandparents would be proud. 11:59 a.m. Right on time. Dad returned, his face ashen. Natalie, I need to speak with you. Alone. The table fell silent. Is everything okay? Mom asked. I'm not sure, Dad said, his voice strained. We moved to a quiet corner of the dining room. He showed me an email on his phone from the family trust administrator. It says the Coastal Properties Trust has been activated and transferred to a primary beneficiary. It names you as the sole controller. That can't be right. It's right, I said calmly. But that trust includes the beach house, the mountain cabin, the downtown investment properties. It's worth at least $15 million, he said, stunned. How could you possibly control it? Grandma and Grandpa asked. Set clear conditions in the trust, I explained. It activates and transfers to the eldest grandchild when they turn 30. I turned 30 last month. But they passed away when you were 15. How would you even know about this? Dad asked, incredulous. Grandma told me before she died. She was explicit about what would happen and my responsibilities. She left me letters, one for when I turned 18, another at 25, and the final one at 30. Each had instructions. Dad's hand trembled. The beach house is part of that trust, which you now control. You can't take it from Sarah. We promised her. You promised her something you didn't have the authority to give, I said. The trust has always had rules. No one bothered to read them. Grandpa was clear. The properties were to be managed by the eldest grandchild with sound judgment and financial responsibility, activated on their 30th birthday. This is absurd, Dad said. You're ruining Sarah's graduation gift over a technicality. It's not a technicality. It's the clear intent of the people who created this wealth. Grandma and Grandpa worked their whole lives to build these assets. They wanted them preserved and managed wisely, not given away on a whim. We returned to the table, where everyone was watching, sensing tension. What's going on? Mom asked. Dad sank into his chair. There's an issue with the beach house. What kind of issue? Sarah snapped. I opened the trust documents on my phone. The beach house, the mountain cabin, and 6 commercial properties downtown are part of the Coastal Properties Trust, set up by our grandparents. As of noon today, I'm the sole trustee with full control over all assets. The silence was heavy. Sarah let out a forced laugh. That's nonsense. The beach house is family property. It's trust property, I corrected. Managed by a corporate trustee until the conditions were met. Those conditions were met today. Mom was scrolling through her phone. I'm looking at the trust documents now. How did I miss this? Because Dad handled the finances and didn't read the details, I said. The trust was designed to prevent impulsive decisions about valuable assets, to protect the family's long-term wealth. You're saying Grandma and Grandpa didn't trust me? Dad's face flushed. They loved you, I said, but they knew you had different priorities with money. They wanted someone with financial discipline to manage the properties. Sarah slammed her hand on the table. You can't do this. Dad promised me that house. Dad promised something he couldn't deliver, I said. The trust has always specified that I take control at 30. I didn't write the rules, Grandma and Grandpa did. Then change them, Sarah demanded. You control the trust now, so give me the house. The trust has strict rules on property distribution, I said. I can't just give them away. They're to be managed for the benefit of the entire family, now and in the future. That's just a fancy way of saying you're keeping everything for yourself, Sarah snapped. No, it means the properties will be maintained, rented at market rates, and the income reinvested for the family's long-term benefit as Grandma and Grandpa intended. Mom, still reading the documents, grew pale. The beach house generates $8,000 a month in rent when not in family use. The commercial properties bring in over $40,000 a month. This trust has been earning significant income. Where's that money going? Back into the trust for maintenance, taxes, and investments, I said. The trust is now worth about $18 million, up from $12 million when they passed. That's due to smart management and appreciation. $18 million, Sarah whispered. And you're keeping it all. I'm managing it, I corrected. There's a difference. Family members can use the properties under fair terms. You can still use the beach house. Sarah, you just book it through the property manager and pay the family rate. Pay to use my own family's beach house? She scoffed. A subsidized rate. Yes, like everyone else, I said. Dad spoke up, his voice heavy. This will tear the family apart. No, Dad, I said. Your promise to Sarah without checking your authority was going to tear the family apart. I'm just enforcing rules that have existed for 15 years. Aunt Diane spoke from the end of the table. I remember Mom and Dad setting up that trust. They were adamant about protecting the properties. Dad always said he didn't want his life's work squandered on rash decisions. Exactly, I said. Grandpa built his real estate portfolio through decades of careful work. He didn't want it split up or given away carelessly. So you're just going to hold this over us? Sarah's tone was bitter. Sit on your pile of properties while we beg for access? I'm going to manage them responsibly, maintain their value, and make them available to the family under fair terms, I said. That's my role as trustee. You could have warned us, Mom said softly, before we promised Sarah the house. I did, I said. I emailed Dad 3 months ago when the trust administrator informed me of the activation. I told him to review the trust documents before making promises. He didn't reply. Dad's face paled. I thought that email was spam, a phishing scam. I didn't read it closely. That's not my fault, I said. I did my part. You didn't. Sarah stood, her chair scraping loudly. I can't believe this. My graduation day, and you're ruining it with your power grab. I'm not grabbing anything, I said. I'm clarifying what's true versus what you were told. That's all. Same thing, she spat, grabbing her purse. Keep your precious beach house. I don't need it. I don't need this family. She stormed out with Mom trailing after her. The rest of the family sat in uneasy silence. Chris cleared his throat. So, can I still book the mountain cabin for ski trips? Yes, I said. Book through the manager. Pay the family rate. Follow the rules. Same as always. There were always rules, I added. People just ignored them because no one enforced them. That's changing now. Dad stared at his plate. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you. Actually, I said, her final letter said she knew this would be tough, but she trusted me to honor her wishes, even if family tried to guilt me. She predicted you'd say she'd be ashamed. Her words were, your father will try to make you feel bad. Don't let him. You're doing the right thing. She knew you well, Dad. Aunt Diane smiled faintly. That sounds just like Mom. She loved you, David, but she knew your flaws. This is crazy, Dad said. $18 million, and you're managing it all? With a property manager, accountant, attorney, and financial advisor, I said. I'm not alone, but yes, I'm in charge. It's my responsibility. And what do you get out of it? Dad asked. What's your cut for being the big trustee? The trust allows a 3% management fee on annual gross income, about $43,000 a year, I said. Plus, I can use the properties under the same terms as everyone else. Chris whistled. $43,000 to manage $18 million? That's pretty reasonable. Grandma and Grandpa wanted the trustee to see this as a duty to the family, not a way to get rich, I said. The real reward is knowing these assets will be preserved for future generations. Dad pushed back from the table. I need to talk to my lawyer. Have them review the trust documents, I said. It's all legal and airtight. Grandma and Grandpa hired top estate attorneys. After Dad left, the remaining family members looked at me with a mix of respect, resentment, and curiosity. Uncle Tom spoke up. Why didn't you say something earlier? Why let it get to this? I tried, I said. I sent the email. I mentioned the trust at Thanksgiving. I even told Sarah last month to hold off on beach house plans. No one listened because it didn't fit their narrative. But you knew this would humiliate Sarah, Aunt Diane said gently. Sarah humiliated herself by assuming she owned something without checking, I said. She's 26 with an MBA. She should know better than to count on a multi-million-dollar property without seeing the title. Chris was on his phone. The beach house pulls in $8,000 a month in peak season, $5,000 off season. That's about $75,000 a year after expenses. You're just going to keep renting it out. Yes, I said. It's an investment property. Family can book it, and the rental income pauses during their stay. But when it's not in use, it generates income for the trust. That's fair, Chris said. It's what Grandma and Grandpa wanted. The property should be used responsibly, not as free vacation homes. My phone buzzed, a text from the property manager. Security codes updated. Bookings in order. Need guidance on the beach house. I replied, keep it on the rental schedule. Family pays the standard rate. No exceptions. At brunch, some relatives murmured that I was right, that Grandma and Grandpa would be proud. But Sarah's hurt voice and Mom's sad eyes lingered as I drove back to my modest townhouse, the one I'd bought with my own money. That evening, Dad called. My lawyer says you're right. I can't fight it. I know, I said. Sarah won't talk to me. She says you humiliated her. You made a promise you couldn't keep, I said. I warned you and you ignored me. I didn't think you had this kind of authority, he said. I saw you as the kid with a $500 check. Now I see they trusted you more than me. They loved you, Dad, I said. But they wanted someone who'd preserve, not squander. So what now, he asked. I manage the properties by the rules. Anyone can book them if they follow the process. Sarah can book the beach house like everyone else. She'll never forgive you, he said. Maybe not, I said. But my job is to honor Grandma and Grandpa, not to win everyone's approval. Dad paused, then asked, what else was in Grandma's letter? That this would be hard, that family would push back, that I had to protect the legacy and stand my ground. She was right about you, he said quietly. Later, I reread her final letter. Don't let guilt sway you. We built this for the family's future, not to be wasted. You're the guardian. Stand firm. I stood firm. Sarah got nothing. I got the responsibility of the empire. And I knew Grandma was smiling.